రెస్పాండ్ అవ్వట్లేదు.
Sir, tell me, sir. You are audible.
మేడం
Tell me, sir.
కాదు, ఆహా వాళ్ళు మాట్లాడేదిగా నాకు వినపడదు. ఓన్లీ నేను చెప్పుకుంటా కూడా. ఇది ఓన్లీ ఈ మైకు అంటే వాళ్ళు మాట్లాడేది వినరాదు. నాకు తిప్పు 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 తిప్పు. ఇది ఓన్లీ చెప్పుకుంటే వెళ్ళిపోవుడే
కాదు, ఇది అసలైంది ఓన్లీ కంప్యూటర్స్ కి. మైక్ ఇన్ మైక్ ఫోన్
కానీ 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 ఇప్పుడు ఓకే. రైట్ రైట్ నాన్న. నాన్న ఫ్యాన్ అయ్యి this sharing is visible, Amma? Slides.
Yes, sir.
Shall we start? Madam, shall we continue?
Yes, sir.
Madam.
Sir, yes,
okay.
sir.
Okay. Thank you, madam. In the faculty exchange program, today we are meet here. Welcome to the session. And this is the Padala Tirupati Assistant Professor, Department of Botany, Government Degree College for Women, Jagityal. Today our topic is nitrogen fixation. Yesterday we are discussed about last class we are discussed about nitrogen cycle. In the topic of nitrogen metabolism, the units contain these are the topics related to nitrogen metabolism. Yesterday we are discussed clearly about nitrogen cycle. How many steps are involved in the nitrogen cycle, Amma? So nitrogen fixation, ammonification, nitrification, denitrification. These are the steps are involved in nitrogen metabolism or nitrogen cycle. So the first step, that is nitrogen fixation. So nitrogen fixation, today we are going to elaborately whether the symbiotic nitrogen or biological nitrogen fixation or abiological nitrogen fixation, free living nitrogen fixation. So today topic we are discussed. Before going to that, the role of the nitrogen in plants. Not only in plants, nitrogen is major substance all living organism, which is the nitrogen is a macronutrient which is useful for the building blocks of the entire body of living organism, each and every organism. Are you heard about the term parasitic plants, Sama? Are you heard about the time of the name of the parasitic plants? Parasitic plants are especially related to not parasitic, but they are insectivorous plants. Are you heard? Nepenthes, Drosera, Dionia, Utricularia. So these are the insectivorous plants. They are depends upon the plants depends upon the nitrogen. They are grown in the nitrogen less content soil or nitrogen deficiency soil. They are depends upon the insects for the uses of the nitrogen for building blocks of the body of different organisms. So nitrogen is a major substance in plants next to water of all living organisms. And this nitrogen is the building blocks for all the elements, all the living organisms. And this nitrogen constituent elements like chlorophyll, cytochromes, alkaloids, vitamins, enzymes, and different all types of the uh, um, compounds related to physiological functions of all living organisms. And this nitrogen plays an important role in metabolism and growth of the living organism and growth of the plants. Even the reproduction and hereditary process, nitrogen is very, very essential. How we can say hereditary, the nitrogen is very essential? Because any in the molecular DNA or DNA structure, so nitrogen bases are the very, very important substance, are important nutrient, are important elements. So nitrogen bases, adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine. So these are the nitrogen bases are very important for the making of the DNA or hereditary process. Then what is the source of nitrogen? How many types of the sources nitrogen for availability of the different environment? So majorly nitrogen is a gaseous substance. So nitrogen present in atmosphere. Nitrogen present in atmosphere, this is more than 78%. More than 78% of the nitrogen present in the atmosphere. This is the largest amount, highest amount of the gas present in the atmosphere. So this is 78% of the nitrogen, and which is in molecular in state. And plant cannot utilize this form. Which form? This form, molecular state. So nitrogen molecule or N2. N2 we can also show like this. So this is the molecular state. Our plants cannot utilize this form. Why? Because the covalent bonds of the three hydrogen bonds between two nitrogen atoms, which is very, very bind very tightly. So this nitrogen form is not utilized by our plants. And this form can utilize or modify, transform or fixation of this atmospheric nitrogen by prokaryotic living organism, like some of the bacteria and some of the prokaryotic living organism like blue-green algae. They can utilize this form, and this atmospheric nitrogen of this molecular state, it's going to convert or fixation into the fixation in the soil of different nitrogen salts or nitrogen ions. So our plants cannot utilize this molecular state, but prokaryotic living organism like bacteria and blue-green algae can able to fix the atmospheric nitrogen into soil. And the source of the nitrogen, even though along with this atmosphere, major source is atmosphere, then the nitrogen is available of the entire plants through different ions of nitrogen, that is nitrates, nitrites, ammonia. Nitrates, Amma, any doubts?
Sir, I'm unable to see the slide, sir.
Oh, sorry. Now?
Yes. Yes, sir.
It is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I will tell you whenever move for next slide. Okay, this role of nitrogen in plants is visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So major substance, the nitrogen is a major substance of all plants next to the water, even though not only plants, all the living organisms, this nitrogen is major source and major element and macronutrients of the plants. The nitrogen is used as a building blocks of the entire bodies of the living organism. This nitrogen is a constant of different elements, like a constant element of different molecules or different substances like a chlorophyll, cytochromes, alkaloids, and many vitamins, and even the enzymes. So enzyme activated by different enzymes also. So this is the constant of elements in this present in chlorophyll, cytochromes, alkaloids, and many vitamins. And this our nitrogen plays an important role of physiological functions of all metabolism and growth of the plants and reproduction and hereditary. So hereditary process, we know that molecular DNA contain the nitrogen bases. The nitrogen bases are the unit, or the functioning unit of the important unit of the DNA molecule. And what is the source of this nitrogen? So this slide is visible, Amma. Source of nitrogen. Source of nitrogen is visible. Source of nitrogen. Sources of nitrogen. This is role of nitrogen in plants.
Yes, sir.
Visible. Okay, next we will move for next slide. Okay, it is visible. Sources of nitrogen.
No, sir.
Okay, then only. Okay, now sources of nitrogen.
Yes, sir.
Now, okay, sources of nitrogen. Okay, now, so sources of nitrogen. This is visible? Yes. Yes, Amma?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So atmospheric nitrogen contains 78% of the atmosphere. The plants cannot utilize this form. Plants cannot utilize this form, molecular nitrogen state. So 78% of the gas, highest gas percentage is present in the atmosphere, 78. This is a molecular state. So this molecular state contain between two nitrogen atoms, 3 hydrogen bonds, covalent bonds are bind very tightly. So this form is unable to utilize our plants by this form. But some of the living organisms like prokaryotic living organism, bacteria and blue-green algae can able to fix the atmospheric nitrogen into the soil. And even though along with this atmospheric nitrogen, then nitrogen is a source from the nitrates and ammonia. So compared to this nitrates, ammonia, so nitrate is a cheap form for the availability of the nitrogen. And amino acids in the soil. So amino acids in the soil, many soil organisms use this form. Higher plants can also taken by higher plants. Higher plants can also taken by higher plants. So this is one of the additional source of the availability of the nitrogen. Then organic nitrogenous compounds in insects. So we have already discussed about insectivorous plants. So insectivorous plants, what are the insectivorous plants, Amma? What are the insectivorous plants? Nepenthes, Drosera, Dionia, Utricularia. So these are the 4 plants related to our insectivorous plants. So these insectivorous plants depends upon the nitrogen from the source of the insects, different insects. The beautiful videos are available in Google whenever you are free, or YouTube. Please watch, Amma. This slide is visible, Amma. Nitrogen fixation. This slide is visible. Next slide. Nitrogen fixation. The conversion of free nitrogen into nitrogenous salts. It is visible?
No, sir.
No.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Nitrogen fixation. Now,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
so nitrogen. Okay, nitrogen fixation. The conversion of free nitrogen into nitrogenous salts to make it available for absorption of plants. The conversion of free nitrogen into nitrogenous salts to make it available for absorption of the plants, we can call it as nitrogen fixation. So in this, what we observed, Amma, the free nitrogen in the atmosphere, that is the molecular state. The molecular nitrogen is unable to, the molecular state of the nitrogen is unable to utilize our plants. So the nitrogen molecule is going to, the usable form, like that is the nitrogenous salts like nitrates, ammonia. It is available for absorption of the plants. We can call it as nitrogen fixation. And next one, next slide. That is it is visible, Amma. Types of nitrogen fixation. Okay. So types of the nitrogen fixation. So nitrogen fixation may be by the utilization of, by the use of living organism. So we can call as biological nitrogen fixation, or otherwise the living organism not able to involve in the fixation of the nitrogen, we can call as non-biological fixation. So biological and abiological fixation or non-biological fixation. Non-biological fixation means any living organism or no living organism involved in the fixation of the nitrogen. So whether the living organism are involved in the fixation of the nitrogen, we can call it as the biological nitrogen fixation. In this biological nitrogen fixation, some of the microbes, they are involved, whether the bacteria or blue-green algae involved for the atmospheric nitrogen into the soil by the fixation of the nitrogen. So this biological nitrogen, again, classified into two types. They are non-symbiotic association or non-symbiotic biological nitrogen fixation and symbiotic nitrogen fixation. Non-symbiotic biological fixation means the living organism does not associate with any other living organism. The living organism freely in the atmosphere, they are fixation of the nitrogen from the atmosphere into the soil. Whether the symbiotic nitrogen fixation, symbiotic biological nitrogen fixation means some of the microbes, they are associated with the other plants or other environment, other living organisms. So we can call as symbiotic biological nitrogen fixation. In the symbiotic nitrogen fixation, maybe we are observed in the root nodules. In these root nodules, bacteria, Rhizobium leguminosarum bacteria is associated with root nodules. Is it right or not? Even though some of the blue-green algae, they are associated with some of the fern like Azolla anabina. Anabina belongs to blue-green algae that is associated with the fern plant. Even though some of the Nostoc Anthoceras, Nostoc is associated with Anthoceras thallus, and the anabina is associated with Gymnosperms cycas, Anabina cycadacearum in cycas coralloid roots. So they are the symbiotic association. They are the nitrogen fixers. They are associated with the other higher plants, whether they are higher plants, roots, rhizosphere, we can call it as mycorrhiza. Even though some of the fungi, they are associated with some of the fungi, they are associated with the higher plants roots. We can call as the mycorrhiza. So mycorrhiza is associated with the some of the related to this fixation. So this non-biological fixation, we can also call as this slide is visible, Amma? Non-biological fixation?
No, sir.
Okay. Now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. This large ga kanapadutundamma non-biological fixation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This non-biological fixation, we can also call as physical nitrogen fixation. Physical nitrogen fixation. Physical or non-biological fixation. In non-biological fixation, microorganisms do not take place. They are not involved. They are not involved in the fixation of the atmospheric nitrogen. But then, how it's possible? The nitrogen fixation without involvement of the microorganism, the nitrogen fixation, how it takes place? At the time of heavy rainy season during lightning, urumulu merupulu antam chudandi. Whenever the lightning, the atmospheric nitrogen is going to react with atmospheric gas, atmospheric oxygen in the lightning process. In the lightning, they are for making of the nitric oxide. Then this nitric oxide again react with free oxygen in the atmosphere in the process of oxidation. So these are the oxidation process. In this oxidation process, so nitrogen peroxide is produced. This nitrogen peroxide, they are dissolved in the water, in the rainy water, which is formed nitrous oxide and nitric oxide. Nitrous oxide, nitric oxide. Then this nitrous oxide and nitric acid and nitrous acid, then again going to involve or dilute with rainy water in the process of oxidation, then again nitric acid is produced. At the same time, calcium oxide is going to react with this nitric acid. This nitric acid to make a salt, that is calcium nitrate is a salt, and water molecule is released. So this is a neutralization process. One acid, one base. So this is the base and this is the acid. So one acid, one base going to react with to form a salt and water molecule. This is a neutralization process, neutralization equation. So the calcium nitrate is salt is produced. Here we are discussing here some of the a little bit of one of the point we can add here. So whenever the lightning process, these nitrogen oxide, nitric acid and nitrous acid is produced. This nitric acid and nitrous acid is going to, in the process of leaching, of the monuments, the beautiful monuments is going to decay, or they are depleted of these beautiful monuments like Taj Mahal. Are you seen or heard about the name of the Taj Mahal? Yes, sir. We know that Taj Mahal is situated at Agra, nearby the river bank of Yamuna. Okay, river bank of Yamuna. Taj Mahal is located in Agra and nearest river bank of the Yamuna. So Yamuna river is very, very near to the attached to the Taj Mahal. So one of the beautiful monuments. So this beautiful monument is going to lose their beauty or the charming of this the Palarati and Jepkuntam Judandi. So that is the going to leaching process. In the leaching process, this acid is going to react with that calcium oxide, can able to produce this salt, that is calcium nitrate. So this is the one of the very, very important point we are discussing here. Even though this calcium nitrate is a salt, so this is a neutral process. Afterwards here the plants can able to utilize this nitric acid. They react with the ammonia and to form ammonium nitrate. So this ammonium nitrate again combined with ammonia and to form again ammonium nitrate. So this ammonium nitrate is able to utilize our plants. So these are the usable form of the ammonium nitrate or ammonia, or even though this is a usable form of the plants of the nitrogen. So usable form of the nitrogen, it is utilized by our plants. So this is one of the method of the fixation of the nitrogen, but this is a very limiting factor. Very a little bit content of the quantity of the nitrogen is fixation through this method, that is lightning method. That is the rainy season, whenever heavy rainy or lightning time. So this process is involved, and very little amount of the nitrogen fixation through a biological or non-biological fixation way. Then the most important point we are discussing here, that is a biological nitrogen fixation. So biological nitrogen fixation we can also call diazotrophy. What we can say that? Diazotrophy. So this diazotrophy term has given by Gustafsson. So Gustafsson is was a scientist who given the name, that is diazotrophy. So in this diazotrophy, some of the microorganisms, they are involved in the process of the fixation of the nitrogen from the atmosphere into the soil. So this fixation of the atmospheric nitrogen into nitrogenous salts like nitrate, nitrites, and ammonia and ammonium salts. So with the help of microorganisms, we can call this biological nitrogen fixation. And this biological nitrogen fixation again classified into two types, that is symbiotic nitrogen fixation and a non-symbiotic fixation. Amma, this slide is visible?
No, sir.
Or now?
Yes, sir.
Now? Okay. So the biological nitrogen fixation, in this biological nitrogen fixation, so microorganisms, they are involved in the process of the nitrogen fixation. So this biological nitrogen fixation also we can call as diazotrophy. This diazotrophy term has given by Gustafson, one of the eminent scientists, has given this diazotrophy. In this biological nitrogen fixation, we can again classify it into two types, whether they are associated with the plants, so we can call it symbiotic nitrogen fixation. They are the microbes, they are freely fixation of the nitrogen from the atmosphere, we can call as non-symbiotic nitrogen fixation. Okay, now we can move for next slide. Non-symbiotic, it's visible? Non-symbiotic.
Yes.
Okay, okay. This non-symbiotic nitrogen fixation means the fixation carried out by the living organism or microorganism, but in the free manner. They are not associated with any other living organism. So these organism like a bacteria or cyanobacteria, whether they are aerobic bacteria or anaerobic bacteria or some of the blue-green bacteria, so blue-green algae. So these are involvement, they are the fixation of the atmospheric nitrogen fixation, but they are freely in the environment. They are not associated with any other living organism. Okay, so that's why this we can call as non-symbiotic nitrogen fixation. So first one is the bacteria. So bacteria is a special type of the nitrogen fixing bacteria types. So one of the free living aerobic nitrogen fixing aerobic bacteria, that is Azotobacter and Biserinckia. Okay, then the free living anaerobic bacteria, that is Clostridium. And third one is the free living photosynthetic bacteria, that is Chlorobium and Rhodopseudomonas. And free living chemosynthetic bacteria, that is desulfovibrio and Thiobacillus denitrificans. So these are the bacteria, they are involvement in the process of non-symbiotic nitrogen fixers. So these are the non-symbiotic nitrogen fixers of the bacteria, whether they are free living aerobic, whether they are free living anaerobic, whether they are free living photosynthetic, whether they are free living chemosynthetic. So these are the bacteria are involving in the non-symbiotic way for the fixation of the nitrogen from the atmosphere. Is it clear, Amma? Is it clear? Next. This slide is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then free living fungi. Free living fungi, that is yeast and Pilularia. So these are the living organism. So yeast is this unicellular eukaryotic fungi. Unicellular eukaryotic fungi, yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, and yeast species, and Pilularia. So these are the free living fungi. They are they are involved in the free nitrogen or non-symbiotic nitrogen fixers. And blue-green algae related to cyanobacteria, or Cyanophyceae algae. So these blue-green algae, they are maybe unicellular, they are maybe filamentous, they are maybe filamentous heterocystous and non-heterocystous. They are involving in the nitrogen fixation through non-symbiotically. So this unicellular blue-green algae, they are related to Gliotheca and Synechococcus. So these are related to unicellular blue-green alga of the non-symbiotic nitrogen fixers. And filamentous non-heterocystous blue-green alga, that is Oscillatoria. Then filamentous heterocystous blue-green algae, that is Thalipothrix, Nostoc, Anabina. Thalipothrix, come on, tell me. Thalipothrix, Nostoc, and Anabina. Right. This slide is visible? Symbiotic?
Yes, sir.
Symbiotic.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then this symbiotic nitrogen fixation, this is the very, very dominating and very utilized and very useful for the fixation of the nitrogen fixation by the utilization or associated with the other living organism. The fixation of free nitrogen by microorganism in soil living symbiotically inside the plants, inside the plants. So they are endosymbiosis. We can call it endosymbiotically. Okay, this symbiosis term has first coined by DeBary. Symbiosis has coined by DeBary. So DeBary was a scientist who named after the father of fungi. Father of fungi we can call as DeBary. So the symbiosis was a term coined by DeBary. In this symbiotic, we can also again categorize into 3 groups. How many groups? 3 groups. One is nodular formation or nodule formation in leguminous plants and nodule formation in non-leguminous plants. And even though without produce of the nodules, that is non-nodulation formation. So these are the 3 categories, 3 groups related to symbiotic nitrogen fixtures. So we will move for next slide, Emma.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then the first one is very important, that is the nodular formation leguminous plants. Nodule formation in leguminous plants. More than 2,500 species of family related to Leguminaceae. They are the Caesarenatinum, Pisum sativum, Cajanus cajan, Arachis hyposia, and different species related to this family. They are produce root nodules. They are containing Rhizobium leguminosarum bacteria, Rhizobium species, and they fix the nitrogen only inside the root nodules. Inside the root nodules with endosymbiotically. In this association, what they are provides, whether the host plant provides which, and the organism related to microorganism related to Rhizobium leguminosarum or Rhizobium species are provides. The association provides their food and shelter to bacteria. So this host plant can give the shelter, even the food for the microorganism. So host plants, they are related to Leguminaceae family, whether the Caesarenatinum or Cajanus cajan and Pisum sativum, Arachis. Okay, so these are plants can give the food and shelter to the microorganism. And then only the bacteria, afterwards, the bacteria or microorganism can supply the fixed nitrogen from the atmosphere to the usable form for the plant species. So this is the association and symbiotic association, and there are symbiotic association we are observed in the host plant. And even though nodules may buried in soil, even after harvesting, continue nitrogen fixation by the microbes. So this is the slide. Next, we will move for next slide, Emma. Okay, this slide is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this nodule formation in non-leguminous plants, So before previous slide, what we explained, so nodule formation in only leguminous plants. In leguminous plants, the host plant can able to give for the food and shelter for the microbes or microorganism, and microorganism like bacteria, Rhizobium species can able to give or the usable form of the nitrogen for the plants. So this nodule formation in non-leguminous plants, some other plants also produces roots in their root nodules in their roots. They are Casuarina equisetifolia. Casuarina, are you heard about the term Casuarina? Casuarina. So this Casuarina equisetifolia is able to produce root nodules by the help of the Frankia. So Frankia is a bacteria. So this Frankia can able to associate with this Casuarina equisetifolia, and even the Frankia is able to produce root nodules in ulnus plants. Ulnus. And Frankia can able to produce root nodules in Myrica gale. Myrica gale. And the rhizobane species, some of the other leguminous plants like parasponia. So this parasponia can able to produce root nodules. So these are associated with the symbiotically, but they are not belongs to leguminaceae family. So that's why these are the non-leguminous plants can able to produce root nodules by the some of the microorganisms like Frankia and Rhizobane. So Frankia can able to produce the root nodules, non-leguminous plants like Azurina equisetifolia, Alnus and Mirica gale. Okay, then leaf nodules. Not only we are observing the root nodules, even the leaf nodules are also noted in Dioscorea and Psychotria. Dioscorea and Psychotria, these are the two species, plant species can able to produce leaf nodules on their leaf by this microorganism. And along with this leaf nodules, some of the gymnospermic plants like Podocarpus and Pavetta ginmermania and Comelia. So these are the species related to gymnosperms can able to produce nodules in their roots and leaves. So root nodules can able to produce by the Podocarpus and leaf nodules in the gymnosperms by the Pavetta ginmermania and Comelia. So these are the produced in the nodules on the leaves by the help of the microorganisms. Okay, this slide is visible. Non-nodulation. Okay. In previous slides, what we discussed, root nodules. So nodulous formation. The nodules related to leguminous plants, that is leguminous nodulation, and non-leguminous plants. Non-leguminous plants also can able to produce by the Frankia in Casuarina equisetifolia and Alnus, and some other plants can able to produce root nodules. They are not belongs to non-leguminous. But here in this slide, what we discussed about non-nodulation, without formation of the nodulation, they are the fixation of the nitrogen from the atmosphere. So lichens, have you heard about the term lichens? Lichens. So this lichens is the special type of living organism. Lichens are the special type of living organism of association with the fungi and algae. They are associated with the blue-green algae, can able to fixation of the nitrogen from the atmosphere. So this is the lichen. The lichen is a term first coined by Thulane and name has given by Theophrastus. Lichens. So are you heard about the term Bandapuvu? Formilia, rock flower, Formilia. We can utilize that is the Formilia in our day-to-day making of the soups of our major functions. మనం పెద్ద పెద్ద పండగల్లో ఈ బండ పువ్వును యూజ్ చేస్తారు ఏది వంట చేయడంలో ఓకేనా బిర్యానీలో గానీ మటన్ వండడంలో గానీ యూజ్ చేస్తారు సో దిస్ ఫార్మిలియా సో ఫార్మిలియా రిలేటెడ్ టు lichens. So this lichens is associated with two living organisms, both the living organisms related to fungi and blue-green algae. So this blue-green algae, that is cyanobacteria, can not able to produce nodules, but they are the fixation of the nitrogen from the atmosphere. Then Anthoceras. So Anthoceras belongs to Bryophyta. Anthoceras belongs to Bryophyta. These Anthoceras we can also call as hornworts. You are already studied in your degree first semester. So these Anthoceras associated with the nostoc. Anthoceras associated with the nostoc. The nostoc related to blue-green algae can able to produce the atmosphere fixation of the nitrogen from the atmosphere. Then Azolla belongs to water fern or fern plant. This is aquatic fern or hydrophytic fern. This Azolla is associated with Anabina. So that's why this species we can call as Anabina azolle. So this aquatic fern, that is Azolla, can able to grow in the paddy field of our croplands. And the Cycas belongs to gymnosperms. So Cycas belongs to gymnosperms. The Cycas coralloid roots can associate with Anabina Cycadacearum, even though nostoc also. And along with this lichens, Anthoceras, Azolla, and Cycas, Gunera manicata or Gunera macrophylla. This nostoc is associated with the Gunera manicata or Gunera macrophylla. And some of the other living organisms like maize, sorghum, and Digitaria, these are associated with the Spirillum notatum. Spirillum notatum of the bacteria is able to produce, able to fixation of the nitrogen from the atmosphere, but non-nodulation. They are not producing any nodules in their parts of the plants or parts of the organism. And Pospollenum notatum is associated with the Azotobacter paspali, can able to fixation of the atmospheric nitrogen. Then symbiotic nitrogen fixation. This is visible, amma? Symbiotic nitrogen fixation.
Yes, sir.
Anybody? Okay. Then in the symbiotic nitrogen fixation, we are observing the roots. On the roots, some of these knob-like structures or protuberances we are observed on the roots, so we can call as nodules or root nodules. Then the size and shapes of the root nodules are varies from each and a species. So species to species and root to root, the size and shapes are varies in the root nodules. Then some of they are spherical in shape, and some of the flat or finger-like protuberances we are observed, and some of the root nodules they are elongated. And along with this, in these root nodules, we are observed from pinhead and 1 centimeter. Pinhead 1 centimeter in size. We are identified, or whenever we are observed in the root nodules, the size of the root nodule may be 1 centimeter, and pinhead we are observed. And the species of these various species of related to Rhizobium leguminosaurum and Rhizobium species, they are noted for the produce the root nodules in the leguminous plants. And named after the host plant, we can say that pea plant, Rhizobium leguminosaurum, just because of the Rhizobium associated with the Leguminaceae family. So that is, we can call it Rhizobium leguminosaurum in pea plant. Even the beans we can call as Rhizobium phaseolus. Why we can say that? Because the beans, the scientific name of the beans of the Phaseolus manja, Phaseolus mungo, or Phaseolus aries. So that's why the species we can call as Rhizobium phaseolus. And some of the species related to soybeans, Rhizobium japonicum. Why we can call as Japonicum means the soybeans really, the species related to Japan country. So the species we can call as Rhizobium japonicum. And some of the species we can call as Rhizobium lupini. So they are associated with the lupinous plants. So these are the named after the host plants. And here, 2 types of the Rhizobium we are observed: Bradyrhizobium and Rhizobium. Bradyrhizobium species are very, very, very slow growing species in the entire whether the Leguminaceae family. And compared to Bradyrhizobium, so Rhizobium leguminosaurum, they are the widespread, they are the fast growing species in the formation of the root nodules. So that's why we are, whenever we are culturing, so Rhizobium, we are selecting Rhizobium leguminosaurum for the fast growing species for the fixation of the nitrogen from the atmosphere. Okay, now we are going to discuss about the Rhizobium. So Rhizobium is visible. This slide is visible, Rhizobium.
Yes, sir.
So this Rhizobium leguminosaurum is a gram-negative bacteria. Why we can say that gram-negative bacteria? Christian Gram is a scientist who classified into bacteria into 2 types, that is gram-positive bacteria and gram-negative bacteria, based on the staining method. Based on the staining method, they observe the Christian Gram or crystal violet color. So that is we can call as gram-positive. Whether they are not observing of this crystal violet color, we can call as gram-negative bacteria. These are the 2 classifications given by Christian Gram. So our Rhizobium leguminosaurum belongs to gram-negative bacteria, and these are the non-spore forming bacteria. And also this Rhizobium is a microaerobic bacteria, which show a degree of specificity, whether they are associated with the leguminous plants, they are associated with the other plants. So that is the specificity. And these are the two partners we are observed. That is the association with the symbiotic, that is the bacteria and host. Recognized by chemical substances. The chemical substances we can call as lectins. So lectins are the phytoagglutins, and they are the proteins. They are the proteins. Carbohydrate containing plant protein we can call as lectins. So these lectins are the phytoagglutinins. Lectins are the phytoagglutinins. They are related to carbohydrate containing plant proteins. So these are the recognized by the chemical substances by the plants. Okay, now we will move for next slide. This slide is visible. Formation of the root nodules in legumes. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So these root nodules formed due to infection of the rhizobium. These root nodules formed due to infection of the rhizobium by the free-living bacteria growing near root of legumes, unable to fix nitrogen in free condition. Remember, my dear friends, these are not able to fixation of the nitrogen in free condition. Whenever these rhizobium leguminosaurum or rhizobium bacteria associated with the roots are forming up the root nodules, then only they can fix the nitrogen from the atmosphere. So this is the most important point. Here, roots of the legumes secrete some growth factors, help in fast multiplication of the bacteria. Example, Physarum sativum then can secrete homoserine, also carbohydrate containing protein, that is lectins over the surface. So these are helpful for the attraction of the bacteria very easily. So these chemical substances can attract of the bacteria of the Rhizobium leguminosum. This is secreted by host plant. So this homoserine or carbohydrate containing lectin proteins are secreted by the host plants for the attraction of the microorganisms. Then this helps in recognition and attachment of rhizobia cells. Then this slide is visible? No. Now this helps in recognition. Okay, this is very helpful for the recognition of the attachment of the rhizobia cells. Whenever the host plant secretes the lectins, carbohydrate containing lectin proteins, and some of the other chemical substances can easily recognize from the attachment of the rhizobia cells. The rhizobia cells have carbohydrate receptor on their surface. Okay, these lectins interact with the carbohydrate receptors of rhizobia cells. Rhizobia cells occur between root hairs and young root hair. Then bacteria enter the roots through soft infected root hairs. The tips are deformed and curved. Tips are, am I audible? Am I audible? No?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then whenever the lectins interact with the carbohydrate receptors of the rhizobia cells occur between root hair and young root hair. So these bacteria, when enter into the roots through soft infected root hair, so tips are deformed and curved. Tips of the roots can deformed and curved. This tubular infection thread is formed in the root hair cell, and bacteria enter into the roots. So this image is visible. This image is visible.
Yes, sir.
So this is the root epidermis, and this is the root hair. This is the root hair, and this is the root epidermis. So root epidermal cells. So this root epidermal cells contain hair-like structures we can call as root hairs. Whenever the root hair is produced, the lectins, carbohydrate contain lectins, and some of the chemical substance is easily attracted of the bacteria. So these are the group of the bacteria in the soil. These bacteria bacteria easily attracted, very reached the surface of the root hair or rhizosphere of the root. And whenever the bacteria to deformed and curved in nature, this is we can call it infecting thread. Infecting thread. So this curved root hair, infecting thread contain the rhizosphere can able to enter into the root hair cell. Enter into the root hair cell. So this is we can call as tubular infected thread. The second image, next image. So whenever the curled root hair, this rhizobia leguminosarum or bacteria can able to reach the cortical region of the root or cortex region of the root. Okay, cortical region of the root. And whenever this bacteria is reached the cortical region, the bacteria here, the cortical region, the parenchymatous region, this young nodule is able to slowly grow into the inside the root. So this formation of the root nodule, are you visible? This colorful image. No. Now?
Yes, sir.
It's visible?
Yes, sir.
Amma, it's visible?
Yes, sir.
Anybody? Okay.
Yes,
so
sir.
this is a pea plant. This is a pea plant. The pea plant, the root rhizosphere, the rhizosphere region or root region, the bacteria whenever enter into going to deform root hairs, whenever reach the bacteria, reach the root into curved, that we can call as infecting thread or infection thread. Afterwards, the bacteria easily enter into the cortical region of the root and to produce a knob-like structure or knot-like protuberance we can call as bacteroids. So the bacteroids is the globular structure inside the roots, and whenever the bacteria is grown or synthesized or divided into numerically or numerously, and the root nodule is able to grow largely. Root nodule is able to grow largely in the cortical region of the plant. So here the root nodules, whenever root nodule is produced, before the production of the root nodules, how bacteria is reached the rhizosphere or root hair structure, and root hair is going to curved or a deformed structure, that is infecting thread. Through this infection thread, the tubular structure, our bacteria, number of bacteria are able to inserted or enter into the root region, that is a cortical region. This cortical region, these cells are going to divide mitotically and to form a number of structure of the bacterial cell and produce root nodules. Okay, root nodules. So this is the how root nodules are formed. We are observed here. Root nodules, how they are attracted by the lectin proteins, carbohydrate contain lectins, and root hair is reached the bacteria, Rhizobium leguminosarum, and infection thread is formed, that is a deformed or curved root hair, and through this tubular structure bacteria can able to enter into the root hair, enter into the root, and the bacterioid, the nodular globular structure we are observed, the bacterioid contain the Rhizobium leguminosarum bacteria, and the nodule looks like a globular structure or different structures outside the region of the root. Okay, so this is then after entry the new cell wall is formed. Then tubular infection contains mucopolysaccharides where the bacteria embedded and start multiplication. It grows much and reaches the inner layer of the cortex, and the bacteria is released. It induces the cortical cells it induces the cortical cells to multiply, which result in the formation of the nodule on the multiplying host cells. Multiplying host cells. Okay, after host cells are completely filled, bacteria cells become dormant.
What happened, ma? It's completed class. Girls,
No.
it's over, no, ma?
Yes, ma'am.